to operate in a different market, I think probably the most important relationship you should have first would be with a closing attorney. And they are very knowledgeable about what's allowed in that state. As an example, Georgia is what's called an attorney state. So every real estate closing has to go through a closing attorney. And there's other states that are title states, and so you can close with a title company. You don't have to close with a real estate attorney. So understanding what that state requires in order to close a real estate transaction is the most important thing. But through talking to that closing attorney, you'll also find out what are common fees that are charged in that particular state. What are their costs to do closings in that state, and really just educate yourself on the closing process. So the attorney, I would say, is number one. Number two would be a local real estate agent or a local broker. I think it's super important to have somebody, if you're not going to be located in that area, or if you're not going to have somebody there on your team, boots on the ground, who are there in that local market, I think it's vitally important to have a real estate agent who works in that market every day. They understand that market. They know the players in that market. They know the ins and outs of real estate. They know values. They know what's going to sell, what's not going to sell. If you're operating in a different state, and you can look online and find some house prices, that doesn't necessarily determine the value for that specific neighborhood. So having a local real estate agent or a local broker who you can reach out to and say, hey, here's a property I'm looking at. What are your thoughts on it? I don't operate in that state. What do you think this house can sell for? And using them to help you educate yourself on that particular property, that particular market. And then third, I think, would be a general contractor. And you may have to reach out to multiple general contractors in that particular state. And I think it's important to have a relationship with a general contractor in that market that you're going to operate in, whether you're going to flip or wholesale, or buy and hold, because you want to know what the costs are going to be, so that you can, when you're evaluating a property, you can run the numbers and say, okay, based on what this person is telling me that it costs to remodel per square foot. So in the West Coast in California, you might spend $400 a square foot to remodel a house. Well, in Georgia, we might spend $80 to remodel a house, $80 a square foot to remodel a house. So having a general contractor that you can reach out to and say, hey, will you go take a look at this house and let me know what it would cost to do the rehab? Or, what are square foot costs in your area? What is the permitting process like in that area? Am I required to get a building permit if I'm just going to be doing exterior painting and interior painting and flooring? And some cities and states require you to do that. Other states don't require you to do that unless you're moving load-bearing walls, or you're messing with electrical or plumbing or HVAC, the mechanicals. Some states require you to permit that, and some don't require you to permit that. So having a general contractor would be the third person that I think is vitally important to operate in another market besides the one you live in and currently operate in.